Good afternoon, keepers of the cash. Gary B, the Casual Comic Guy here, and we are here with another Woman of Power Wednesday. Today we're featuring Monica Rambeau in the giant size special #1 Captain Marvel, her first solo title with a first appearance in this issue of a villain, supervillain called Powder Keg. All right, so we got cover art and interior art by Doc Bright, written by Dwayne McDuffie. We have Stan Drake and Frank Bully splitting the pages doing the inking, and they do it seamlessly. When you're reading this book, I don't know if it's a credit to the writing, a credit to the inkers, or a credit to everybody, but it reads smooth and you don't notice anything. It all blends together nicely. And we're going to do a non-spoiler review. It won't be that long, but we're going to give you a little bit of what's inside to see if you want to check this title out for yourself, and I think you should. This title you can currently buy from anywhere between $15 and $25. I believe its current market value is $20, and that's high at 25 in near mint condition. But don't buy it for spec, even though it's a spec book. Buy it because it's a fun read, it's a good read, and buy it because you like the character. That's my 2 cents. Let's get reading. Or talking. In this issue, we have Monica Rambeau coming to terms with her own personal fears and the loss of her powers, I believe in Avengers 293. Slowly, things are happening in this. She's getting a regular career, she's moving on with her life, but she's having nightmares, and she's just experiencing fears that she's never experienced before, especially since being depowered. She has a new job that she's heading out to. She's the commander of a ship, and I forgot the name of the ship. Not that it really matters any, but she's at home with her parents. She's starting this new job. She used to be a cop, and the cargo ship is called the Tea Cake. All right, and on this ship, she has a couple friends that she hasn't seen in a while. All right, one of them is the owner of the new shipping company, the new cruise line, and she's happy to see him again. Carlos Goodman is her first mate, and he used to know her back when she was a cop and he was a cop, and you know all the nicknames they had for her, which they discuss in here, which is a little bit of fun. They give you a little bit of history because there's some events that happen which help you care about these characters. But mostly with Monica, she's just moving forward with her life. She has fears, but it doesn't stop her. She's coming to terms with the things that are bothering her, and she is looking to start new, start fresh as the commander of this ship, and just get back to living a new life and just moving forward, which is something we can all relate to, right? There's times we just need to think about moving forward and getting on with life. When you're in that dead end job, or this big event happens in your life that changes what's going on. She's having a conversation with this guy about their time in the force, and there's some events that happen because they're transporting cargo, but they also got a bunch of passengers on it. So this ship serves a couple different purposes, but the ship is held up. There was a sleeper cell of bad guys on this ship, and they are led by this supervillain called Powder Keg, who is basically like nitroglycerin. When he makes contact, whatever he punches, the impact explodes. So he can kill pretty easily. A lot of the people on the ship are killed and unceremoniously, just because these people are here to collect on something they were promised. They don't have it. They think it's on the ship, and that's what they're here for. Now, like I said, this is the first appearance of Powder Keg. He seemed to be a pretty one-note villain. So I don't think we'll see much happening with him, but you never know. Things in the MCU are strange. Anyone could pop up at any time, and they could become something more than they were in the printed pages. So never rule anything out. So there's a fight that takes place. Monica, of course, is like, I don't know. And then she goes, oh, who am I kidding? And she goes into battle. She's taking out a couple of the bad guys. And no, I'm not going to spoil everything. And the reason I'm telling you this is she is depowered. And it doesn't stop the fact that at her core, at her heart, Monica is a hero and she wants to do the right thing. She dons her suit and she fights this powder keg. And in the fighting, she starts to realize that she has some powers returning. That maybe her powers didn't leave her, but they are changed and they're not what they used to be. They've turned into a different set of powers based on what she had before. And now she has to come to terms with a new change in her life. So she's already went through a change and she was adapting. Now she's adapting to this one. She survives this battle only to end up in another battle with Moonstone after her boss's place is ransacked, and we learn some truths about him that aren't so great, but also that at his core he's a good guy doing the right thing, and Monica's out to help him. So she ends up in a big battle with Moonstone, where her powers are still developing, so she's still actively learning about herself and what's going on with her body, how it's changing, how her powers are changing, and what that means to her. In the meantime, she had seen Reed Richards between battles, and he was helping her understand it a bit. If you're changing, who better to go to than one of the biggest brains on the planet, right? So you have all that happening. I'm going to be showing you different pictures over here. Don't read them if you don't want spoilers, but they're fun. And her and Moonstone have a great battle. And just to find out who the major villain was is the guardsman, which is Mrs. Ramos, and who was after this suitcase that held a product that her employer had and had sold to her before he realized how bad of a person this was and he didn't want to turn it over, which led to this whole big mess along the way. So you got Monica in 3 different battles, each battle teaching her a little bit more about what her powers mean, how they affect her, and ultimately what her new role with those powers is going to be and how she needs to embrace them. But she's happy. She's got a meaning again to herself because of her powers, even though the powers not being present did not stop her from becoming a hero. But most of this story is dealing with Monica and Monica dealing with the changes that are being thrown at her and adapting as she goes. It shows the strength of character, it shows the determination, and it's also just a fun damn read. So if you haven't read it, pick it up. I'm sure it might get more expensive because people are specking on it. Pick it up for the read. It's a fun read. Dwayne McDuffie did a great job writing it. Doc Wright's art is really good. The inking's completely consistent throughout, and it doesn't take away from the art, and it doesn't intrude where it's getting in the way. Just a really good issue, really solid one shot with Monica Rambeau with a couple keys in this issue. So there you have it. That's my overall review. I'm going to give the cover art an A. I'll give the interior art an A. Same guy. Great job on both. For the character and the character development, we're going to give an A too. She goes through some changes in this and she adapts, and the conclusion's fun, so we're going to give that an A. So overall, an A book. And I've read this a couple times. I'll read it more. Every time I read it, I have fun. I just think it's a great book, and I think it's one all of you should check out. So until next time, keep it casual.